Hey South Holland, welcome back to Summer Snacks. It's sort of lunch with the librarian, but not quite so mealy, more kind of snackety dessert, hors d'oeuvre, just easy little yummies for the summertime. And this week, our first week back, I'm doing two similar recipes. Now that fruit is coming into season, yeah, fruit is great all by itself. I'm a huge fan. But sometimes you want to kind of zazz it up a little and do something a little bit fancy. And so today, right now actually, I'm going to show you guys how to make a chocolate dip for, using brownie batter that you can use for like strawberries would be great, or banana slices, like frozen banana slices, or like graham crackers or vanilla wafers, or like a spoon or your finger that you just eat. This is 100% heat-free, so if it's hot out and you don't want to get your house all warmed up with the oven, all you need is a mixer like this. If you have one of those like standing mixer, like a big Mama Jamma, feel free to use that. This is what I have, so this is what I'm using, and it's all that is really necessary. These are some pretty basic ingredients. So yeah, let's get going. Let me put my mask on, and I will point you guys down at my board so you can see what I'm doing. Off I go. All right, so we're making brownie batter mix, and the first thing that you're gonna need is 6 ounces of softened cream cheese. So you get a brick of cream cheese like this, or Neufchâtel cheese. They're the same thing. If you've ever wondered, they're basically the same thing. Just like a stick of butter, there are lines on the cream cheese that break down by ounce how much you need. You don't need this whole brick of cream cheese, you only need 6 ounces. So I'm going to count and cut, and I'm gonna dump this into my bowl. Like, notice it's pretty soft. I've had it sitting out on the countertop here for a few hours to bring it up to room temperature. You want to get the brick for this kind, not the like already whipped or like tub cream cheese like you would put on a bagel. You're doing this like so. All right, so I've got my 6 ounces of cream cheese in here, and then I'm doing 3 tablespoons, let me move the cream cheese, and then I'm doing 3 tablespoons of butter. So I've already unwrapped and cut this. Like, you can see that it starts with 4, 5, 6, because here's the first 3 tablespoons of butter. And that goes into my bowl as well. And now I'm just gonna beat these two together with my beater until they're kind of integrated and soft. So I'm just gonna stick my beaters in there and get it going. You don't want your butter melted for this. It'll screw up the texture of the dip. It won't be creamy. It'll get kind of greasy and weird. Room temperature is just fine. All right. Let me pop these guys off. And shake them out. And then pop them back in, because I'm going to need them again in just a second. Oh, come on. I never put these in the right order, so they have a hard time like sticking in my machine. All right. There we go. That was a mess. My bad. So, the next thing we're going to need is a cup of Cool Whip. This happens to be Cool Whip brand. This Miss Alina brought this back for me from the grocery store. If you have generic Cool Whip, you've seen me use that before. I'm totally good with the generic whatever. Like if you want to get the sugar-free kind or the extra creamy, it's all up to you. But you want a cup of this. And again, room temperature is good. I need a cup, and I'm measuring that out into my dry measuring cup here. 1 cup. And just to be on the safe side, there are some like little kind of nooks in there. If I were at home and I wasn't making this for other people, I would be tempted to just use my finger to wipe that in there, but I'm not, so I'm not. And now, I'm gonna whip this guy, like whip the whip topping into my butter and cream cheese. Again, just so it's mixed together and everything is incorporated and there aren't big raggedy chunks of like just butter or just cream cheese or just Cool Whip. You want everything kind of like even. All right. Next thing that goes in is the brownie mix. This is just a bag of regular brownie mix, whether it's milk chocolate or dark chocolate is fine. You probably don't want something that comes with a little frosting packet. If you like nuts in your brownie mix, that's cool. Live your life. If your brownie mix is really lumpy, it's not a big deal, because like if it's super lumpy and like really just holding together, you might want to use a fork and kind of sift through it first. But then you're gonna beat this brownie mixture into your cream cheese and Cool Whip and butter, almost as though you were making brownies. What I'm gonna do is a couple of times I'm gonna scrape down the sides and integrate all of that stuff into the middle. It all gets kind of, like you can see, I'm just scooping the sides. And there's a lot of here that's stuck in here. So I'm gonna do that a few times and I'll come back in a minute when the brownie mix is integrated in. All right, I actually got my other beater to stick in. I just had to switch which beater was in which hole. And I gave it some more stirs, and now it's sort of the consistency of like cake, cookie batter or cookie dough. You can see it's not like drippy or liquidy at all, but it is a dip, so you want it to be a little bit loose. The way we're gonna do that is by adding milk, a tablespoon at a time, until it's kind of the consistency of like frosting. So depending on what your desired consistency is, you're gonna want probably between 2 and 4 tablespoons. I poured my milk into a cup to make it easier to like pour out a tablespoon at a time. So that's 1 tablespoon. It's still a little bit thick for me, but notice how the consistency is changing a little bit. There's 2 tablespoons. Notice how the color has lightened up from the color of the brownie batter. And I think I'm only going to put in 1 more tablespoon. I like it just a little bit looser and a little bit creamier. A little bit more like frosting. And a little bit, like a little more puddingy kind of, and a little bit less like stiff. And that is it. If you put nuts in if you put a brownie mix that has nuts in it, then maybe you don't want to add in anything. If you didn't use a brownie mix with nuts, but you like that, feel free to add in a cup of nuts, or if you like M&Ms, or like chocolate chips or whatever, up to a cup complete. So if you want to do nuts and M&Ms, that's cool, half a cup of each or so. And this is it. You're done. Let me grab a Nilla wafer, because I just happen to have some around so that I can test. That's perfect. And now I can have this on, like I said, graham crackers or Nilla wafers like I had, or any kind of fruit that you have around the house. It would be great with strawberries, or maybe pineapple. I don't know if I do like kiwi fruit or melon, but like, you do you. I'm gonna put this in a bowl, put it in the fridge, and let it chill all the way through. This will keep for a few days in the fridge, as long as you keep it cold, but it's probably not going to keep that long because you're going to end up eating it all. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to come back and we got another sweet like dessert dip for you. This one is based on the idea of edible cookie dough. So if that is your jam, keep watching, because that recipe is coming up next. All right, South Holland, I'm back with another sweet, like a dessert dip situation. Yesterday was brownie batter. Today is more cookie centric. And this is a great, I mean, if you make these kinds of cookies, they're great for like, if you want a lot of different things in a little bit of cookie. We're doing a monster cookie dip, which is essentially like a peanut butter oatmeal cookie with chocolate chips and M&Ms. As cookies, they're fantastic. Love them. This one is like, it's dip. It's not dough that you would bake. So, just like yesterday, no cooking required, obviously. It's just put a bunch of stuff in a bowl and mix it together, and I'll talk you through it right now. Let me get my mask on and point you at my workspace. So here you go. The first thing that goes into our bowl, our trusty dusty bowl, is 1 brick of softened cream cheese, just like yesterday, or not just like yesterday, the amount is different, but you're softening it to make it easier to mix with your mixer. So 8 ounces of softened cream cheese into the bowl, and then a whole stick of butter, also softened, but not melted. Melting it will make the texture of this really, really loose. It won't get really like creamy and dippy, and it will get really, really greasy. So a softened stick of butter, just softened to room temperature, and then a cup of creamy peanut butter. If you're an allergy person and you want to use almond butter or sun butter, that's cool. Creamy works better in Monster Dip than chunky, so creamy is what you want. And remember the trick of spraying the inside of your measuring cup with nonstick spray so that it releases easier and you don't have to fight to get the, whatchamacallit, the peanut butter unstuck from the inside of the bowl. So I got that together, and I've got my hand mixer. If you have like a KitchenAid style mixer, that works. We're just gonna beat these together until they are smooth, and that should take maybe a minute or so. You can see what I'm doing in there. Let me get that stick of butter back in there. And you're just getting it until it's all kind of incorporated, so that there aren't any obvious chunks of just peanut butter or just cream cheese or just butter. You're getting it so it's all kind of smoothly mixed together. Depending on the nature of your bowl, you might want to grab a spatula and scrape down the sides like I am and kind of push everything toward the center like this. You can kind of see how I'm doing. Push it back toward the center like that, and then give it a second on slow, and then crank it up to medium or medium high and get all those goodies thoroughly mixed together. I think we're pretty good right there. All right, so don't put that away though. Next thing that you're gonna add in is 2 cups of powdered sugar. Sometimes it's called confectioner's sugar. It is very sweet, and if you, granted, you're making a cookie dough dip, so if you're making this, you probably like sweet things, but if you want to like kind of ease up a little bit on the sugar and not put the whole 2 cups in, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But there's the 2 cups of powdered sugar. The next is 3 tablespoons of light brown sugar, just like you were making cookies. I brought this from home. I measured it out. It's 3 tablespoons, I promise. You don't have to worry about it being super tightly packed down into the tablespoon. Just 3 regular old tablespoons. And then a 1/4 cup of regular all-purpose flour. Again, not enough flour to really make it like stiff like a dough. And all I'm doing is scooping my 1/4 cup scoop in there and then kind of shaking it even. All right, so that guy goes into the bowl, and we, on a very low speed, mix this together and get it a little bit integrated. If you start too high with the speed on your bowl, all of the powdery stuff in here will poof right up into your face. So you want to do it really low speed first. And then as it gets kind of wetter, you can turn it up a little bit higher. And then just like last time, I'm going to use my spatula and scoop all this toward the center, because you can still see a whole lot of flour and powdered sugar that has not gotten incorporated into this dip yet. No, Mom, this is not diabetic friendly. I'm so sorry to tell you that, but sometimes life isn't diabetic friendly. Know what I'm saying? All right, let's get in here really get that incorporated. A lot of times on baking shows, they will want to finish stirring something like this by hand, just to make sure that there are no like pockets of powdery like flour or sugar in the bottom. And it's easier to see if you're doing it by hand. So that's why I am scraping my bowl like this, but you can see that it's pretty well integrated. We're not 100% done yet though. So it's like, if you do have any little clumps, you can just use a regular spoon to mix those in and know that you still have a couple of things left to add. So it'll all get kind of taken care of. The next thing come the oats. So you're just using regular old-fashioned oats. You can also use quick oats if you have them. Steel cut oats do not work well for this kind of recipe. They're too, like the texture just isn't right. They're not going to absorb enough of the liquid to get really creamy. And I mean, they're delicious. I love eating them for breakfast, but they're not the right thing for this. Start, depending on how thick you want your dip. You're just using a spoon for this. Where is the cup that I'm looking for? The half cup. So start off with about 1.5 cups. And then you can always add more depending on how thick you want your dip. This is a 1/2 cup measuring cup, and I'm using that just because it fits inside the container really easily. And I can do 1/2, 1, 1/2. All right, and I'm just gonna set that to the side right now. And pop these guys in. Obviously, you can also do this with a spoon. Why are you being like this? I was having this issue yesterday, folks. I promise I cleaned up the countertop before I started working, so no harm, no foul. I'm just gonna really unload. I don't want to use a high speed to do this because I don't want to crush up the oats, but I do want to integrate them. All right, same as before. Get the dip off of here. I'm going to go in with my spatula. I saw some kind of oats at the bottom that did not get all the way incorporated. So I'm just going to use my spatula for that. And I think I'm going to add in another 1/2 cup of oats. And I'm going to use a spoon to stir that in. That way none of these oats will be crushed up or broken. They'll just be whole big pieces of oat like you would expect in an oatmeal cookie batter or an oatmeal cookie. All right, so the other thing that I'm going to add now is a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So there's my teaspoon. Give it a shake. This is just regular old vanilla extract. Nothing fancy about it at all. 1 teaspoon. I suppose if you're really into vanilla and you want to add a little bit more, do it. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. Use as much vanilla as your heart dictates. But however much you use, make sure that it is really well distributed all through your dip. And that there aren't any little vanilla puddles or pools at the bottom of your bowl. All right, last but not least, you're adding in about a cup of chocolate chips. These are 72% dark chocolate chips. I like our really dark chocolate, so I'm gonna throw those in there. If you like milk chocolate, that's cool. If you like dark chocolate, like semi-sweet regular chocolate, that's also fine. Again, like whatever kind of chocolate chips you like, do it. And since Monster cookies are partially, at least, M&M cookies, we're gonna throw in about 2/3 of a cup. These are just plain M&Ms. 1/3 cup, 1/3 cup. 1, 2, there we go. I'm gonna mix these together just so that they are evenly distributed through all of this creamy goodness. And that's it, you're done. This one, maybe not one for fruit, my friends. Maybe this is one that you are scooping up with pretzel sticks or graham crackers or Nilla wafers or stuff like that. This is definitely, with all the oats and the chocolate chips and stuff, it's definitely more kind of sturdy. This will go into a bowl, into the fridge, chill it out for an hour or so before you eat it to let everything kind of set up and get all these flavors to kind of meld together. And you've got yourself a Monster cookie dip. So, brownie batter, dip, Monster cookie dip, kind of a sweet afternoon snack, or if you are watching, Loki is on tonight, and there's a really, really great book about Loki written by Mackenzie Lee that's down here at the in the teen room. If you're into that sort of thing, grab the book, grab the show, grab some dip, and have an awesome evening. I will see you next week, South Helen. Have a good one. Bye.